Hey, what's going on, guys? Inscription here. I'm basically just going to run through some of my thoughts on Starfield so far and how it compares to Elder Scrolls 6. I made a video a little while ago about how I thought Starfield was a mistake. They should have made Elder Scrolls 6 instead. I actually wanted to add a few reasons to why I think that now that I've seen it. Some of the reasons that I think that they should have made Elder Scrolls 6 in the past were that they were coming off Fallout 76, so they really needed to impress us this time. I think it would have been a lot easier for them to stick with what they knew to impress us rather than have another kind of experimental game happen. I think that Elder Scrolls, we've been waiting for an Elder Scrolls game for a long time. We've had a bunch. We've had literally, this is the third Bethesda game in a row with guns in it. We really haven't had anything, fantasy themed since Skyrim. And then I think the other point I made was that, obviously Elder Scrolls fans would have bought the game regardless. So I think the main issues now, having seen Starfield, I think the main issue is the world. Bethesda's worlds are intricately detailed, hyper-focused worlds. It's like you're being dropped in a province or dropped in a metropolitan area, like in Fallout, and the world makes sense. It's realistic. You feel like it could be real. I do not feel like that with Starfield. I don't feel like any of this is real. It feels gamey. It feels like a simulated game. It feels like simulation to me. I have to suspend my disbelief when I walk out of a bustling city and there's no suburbs. There's no civilization anywhere else on the planet really except the city. You go to another planet, there's outposts there, that's all abandoned labs with dead scientists. There's no one there. Nothing seems alive. It all seems, for God's sakes, the pirates in this galaxy have as much power as anybody. They got leagues and leagues of pirates. Like, that doesn't make any sense. It's not realistic. It's not realistic that humans would have evolved this way, where you have, all of this technology to create like fleets of ships, and it's just pirates to the end of the earth. Like, why would all these people need to be pirating? Not only that, but so much empty space. Yes, I know it's a space game. I'm not talking about the space part. I'm talking about the planets. You go to any planet, even ones with colonized planets, and there's nothing there. There's nothing. There's an outpost here and there. That's it, and it's dead. It's lifeless. The cities are great. I don't think anyone has a problem with the cities in Starfield. They're amazing. Probably the best cities. Probably the best like actual city play I've seen. I think Skyrim had some great city quests that I don't think Starfield really, story-wise or like intrigue-wise, hasn't really matched. But for the come on, when you went to Windhelm and Skyrim and you did that Blood on the Ice quest, that's cool, man. That's cool. The Dark Brotherhood was cool. Starfield doesn't have the same weight. I think the Crimson Fleet quest is pretty good, but again, pirates. Why is everything pirates? It's like they might as well just call this game Pirate Field. But anyway, the other thing is like I said, Bethesda creates worlds which are, you can believe you're there. You dropped in a province. There's towns, there's cities, but there's also camps, there's forts, there's guard towers, there's little villages, there's caves, there's dungeons. The enemy variety is the other thing that really just threw me off on Starfield. It's like, why is every enemy a guy in a spacesuit? Like, you can change their name. It's still a guy in a spacesuit. He's still gonna shoot you. He's still gonna throw grenades at you. It's the same combat over and over again. In Skyrim, Skyrim, you could build your character a million different ways. Like, I had probably, I want to say like 5 different archetypes that I got really involved in with Skyrim. I was a warrior who used like a 2-hander axe, like decked out in Daedric armor. I had an assassin that used archery and daggers to creep up on people. I had a mage who obviously just used magic. I had a like a conjuration guy. I don't know. Basically, he was a necromancer, but I focused more on actually the demon parts. I'm really not. Maybe a demonologist, something like that. And I had a kind of like a weird mixture of various things. Like I picked like just random skill trees one time. I remember I just shuffled them and picked like 5 skill trees to focus on. He was just a mishmash character. Starfield, I don't know. I just feel like you're kind of always doing the same thing. I mean, there's big guns, small guns. Gameplay's not going to change. It's just not going to change that much. You're still going to be shooting. You're still going to be hiding behind cover. You know, I mean, in Skyrim, for God's sakes, you have the varied skills. I mean, you'd have like wards, you'd have like heals, you'd have projectiles, you had, you know, castings like casting spells. You had spells that would, you know, muffle your feet. You had spells that would conjure weapons, conjure, you know, minions. I mean, you had a shield, you had a sword, you had an archer. You had so many different play styles, and you fought so many different enemies. You know, you fought enemies that would, you know, shoot you from afar. You had enemies that would come up close. You had enemies that would have different spells. You know, they had all the different spells. I remember one time I was in this dungeon. All the enemies were so easy, and then you got to the boss, and for whatever reason, he had this one attack where he would just nail you with a spell. It was like a giant frost ball, and like it would like one hit you, and you're like, what the hell? It was just such a surprise because I remember the dungeon enemies were like ghosts or something, and they were just really easy. And then you get to that guy, and he was just shooting that fireball ability. It was so much variation. Then there's like another boss, you know, Galderson. You meet Galderson. He's teleporting to different platforms. You had you know, the Dragon Priest, which all had different boss fights. They were all a little different. You had dragons. You know, you had like the hags in the Forsworn dungeons, and those had like giant fireballs. They would pick you off with those damn fireballs. You know, even in Oblivion, you had enemies with different resistances and things like that. So it was like you never knew what you were going to find. You had like the enemy variety is just so low in Starfield. I mean, think about how many enemies you had in Skyrim. You had like the Dwemer constructs. You had the Falmer. You had the Forsworn. You had the bandits. You had the vampires. You have random mage cults. You had just caves with animals in them. You know, you had all these different dungeons that had different themes. You had the Draugr. You had, you know, other undead types in dungeons. Like you had liches and all kinds of weird, cool, creepy ass stuff that in some of the weird pockets of the world. And I just don't see that inspiration in Starfield. I don't. It seems to me like they were like, oh, we got to keep it realistic, or I don't even know. I guess you could say realistic. I mentioned, you know, the concept of why isn't there any aliens in Starfield? Like, why not? People are like, oh, it's not like that kind of game. Like, well, why not? I mean, if we had the choice, why would we not? Like, now we just have to kill humans all the time, and we don't have to change our gameplay up at all. Like, and it's like, why does it have to be an alien race that's like super advanced? It doesn't have to be. It could be like an alien race that's like on par with humans, you know? It could be an alien race that's, hell, it could be an alien race that's just local to one planet or something, and they have like, you know, tribes, or, you know, they're primitive, you know, maybe they're just hostile. Like, and this is the problem, I think, is that they put all these planets in there, and I think they put them in as a selling point. I think they tried to like go on the hype of like a space sim when they shouldn't have made anything close to a space sim. That's not what Bethesda does well. We are seeing that now. They don't make space sim games. They make hyper-focused immersive experiences. They put you in a small area, relatively, and detail it out. They don't take all that work and spread it out over 1,000 planets and call it a day. I mean, like if they had just a solar system, say, and say the whole solar system, say like the solar system was attacked by a certain alien race, and say that we also can leave the galaxy as well. Like they're on par with us technologically, right? So like, but it takes place in but it's a Bethesda game, so it takes place in just the solar system. And they detailed the planet. So this planet had this kind of life and these kind of enemies. And it really, at least tried to make that, like the planets more unique, more elaborate. You know, they could have made it so like, you know, one planet had, you know, this struggle and that storyline. It would almost be like cities in Skyrim, you know, like or like regions in Skyrim. They had like kind of like different storylines and the different enemies and the different kind of. They should have done something like that, where it would have just been so much more of a Bethesda game. You walk out of a city in Starfield and the whole planet is empty. You go onto a planet with colonized life and it's all empty. Why is everything empty? You know, it's like, it doesn't immerse me. That's not immersive. I don't want to walk across an empty planet, find an outpost, kill guys in spacesuits. I don't want to do that. It's not immersive. I want a world. I want to walk into this random creepy cave I found with bones displayed ornamentally on the front. I want to go in there, read a journal, figure out what these people were doing, or maybe they have something that they're keeping in this cave, and then make me be like, what's in this cave, you know? I used to love that. I used to love like going into a cave, or like, you know, you're on the trail of something. Like maybe you find a book somewhere in the world and it tells you that there's this random place to go, and that there's something there that's very mystical or unique, and you go there, and you find another, maybe a journal of some group who's already realized it's there, and you explore their struggle to get deeper into the dungeon, you know. And it's kind of like, I don't know, it just had this way more immersive feel to it than just random outposts with dead scientists and pirates. It's like, I don't know. I'm not gonna say that Starfield's a bad game. I want to like just, you know, I think it's good. I think it's a good game, but it's not a great Bethesda game, and that's the best way I can describe it. It's like, it's an okay, like, you know, I want to mess around type game, but it's not one of those deep, you know. We'll see when mods come. I don't know how hyped the mods are going to be for this game. Like, I don't know if anyone really cares. One of the other problems I have now that I just watched this footage is how unbelievably tanky these stupid guys are. I mentioned that in my other video, that I don't like it when gun RPGs with guns, have enemies with 4 freaking health bars. I don't like that. The shooting in this game feels like Fallout 4.5, and that's not a good thing, because I didn't even like the shooting in Fallout that much. I still think Fallout 4 is a great game. I think Fallout 3 is a great game too, but never liked the shooting. And in this game, I just feel like I'm you know, this guy's level 6, but on the higher levels and in the harder difficulties, you're literally emptying clips into guys. Like, what the? That is not realistic. I mean, I'm not even like, I don't even think these games are supposed to be realistic, but that's just crazy. Like, I feel like, what's my logic that he's not dying? Is that, like, at least with Skyrim, you know, I can hit him with a sword and I could at least tell myself, well, it hit his armor, or he deflected it. I can like kind of like reason that, you know, and I'm just working him down with the sword, you know, like it's a sword fight, right? What gunfight do you have guys emptying clips of bullets into each other? Besides Star Wars, what is that? Like, are we missing? Like, what is going on? Like, are these bullets BBs? Like, it doesn't make any sense. and it's not fun. So, you know, Starfield, it's an okay game. It's an okay game. I'm not going to say it's, you know, is it worth $70? Yeah, probably. I mean, it's probably worth $70. You know, we had a good year this year of games, and you know, it's probably worth $70 if you want to just, you know, see some cool sights and, you know, shoot some guys, you know, build a kind of a cool character, experience the story. I'm not sure how great the story is. I haven't finished it, but you know, it's okay. That's all I'm gonna say. It's okay. I think I do think they should have released Elder Scrolls 6 rather than this. I think that they are better at doing games like Skyrim and like Fallout, focused worlds. You know, this world that's spread out over everything is just I don't think it plays into their strengths as a developer. I don't think it does. I think that their strengths as a developer are creating an immersive experience, and with all this space and like emptiness, it's going to be harder to craft an immersive world, a realistic world. It doesn't seem realistic. It seems like a game. And the strengths of Bethesda games were never that it felt like a game. It never felt like a game. It felt like you were there. That was the whole point. So that's all I really had to say. Peace.